I was thinking about the accepted idea that we're supposed to simply pursue happiness without a second thought. Humans are awful at predicting what will make us happy, and even if we somehow get it right, we fail to act on the knowledge. From an evolutionary standpoint, it makes perfect sense after all, that we are permanently dissatisfied, because any living organism that can obtain long-term psychological satisfaction from a single, good meal or a single act of sex wouldn't last very long at spreading its genes. That is, one could say that nature throws in proximal dissatisfaction continually to keep us moving and evolving distally over the long evolutionary game. But human beings possess the neurotic advantage, or disadvantage depending on how you want to look at it, for recognizing our own mortality and wrestling with the meaning. Who am I? Why am I? How can I improve the quality of my life or others' lives? Many people like myself who get off on the praxis of this intellectual curiosity are grateful for this obsession in an otherwise unstimulating world. But becoming neurotic about it, becoming depressed, nihilistic and feeling negative and hopeless about everything because you're essentially living in your head, defeated and frustrated, unmotivated and not really seeing the point in the end. Because hey, factually speaking, we're all dying one day up ahead and life is short, so why bother, many think. That is, if there's no point to anything, why bother trying? This mental space, I'd contend, is not where the faculties of a higher human mind resides. Look, I recognise it also depends on the personality of the person in question. You see, I accept the world, nature, women, banks, and people in general to act in the ways they usually act. And yes, I will die up ahead one day, but this is liberating to me, for it's no longer vague. Things are now clear. And so now, I have permission to do as I wish. The time I have until I pass away will be mine to create with and share with people as I choose. Yes, there is no meaning to life, but that blank canvas is liberating to me. It allows me to justify my self-centeredness and self-esteem all the more. No one's going to tell me what to do anymore. I'm no longer a workhorse for everyone and everything else. The little time I have, I'll do with as I wish. My mental curiosity, that is a will to live, not a resignation to nihilism. This whole pursuing happiness business, we hear the term all too often, the pursuit of happiness. It's something of an unquestioned saying. It's an axiom. It's like saying a vacation on a tropical island is great. So what's wrong with pursuing happiness, human, you might ask? There's nothing wrong with happiness. It's the pursuing part that I have a problem with. You see, much like the Buddhists, I think the pursuit of happiness, just like the pursuit of attachments to anything, is causing people much of their pain and frustrations. For if we're always pursuing something, forever chasing the happiness goal of the future, we are never here. We are always mentally there. Because whether it's happiness or pain, it can only ever really be felt now. I mentioned this in the previous video called There Is No Re-Experience, linked below, where if you're heartbroken over something in your past, that it's a mental fiction, for you can never really relive anything. You can only rethink it. That is mentally catastrophizing a fiction in your head. Similarly, happiness isn't felt someday up ahead. It's only felt now. Sure, you can reimagine it up ahead or behind you even, but it's not real. Happiness is only ever real now. And when you feel it in the moment, it's usually a consequence of something real too. So pursuing a future happiness is pursuing a convenient illusion. A convenient and lazy illusion, I'd contend. Something you never get to because it's always tomorrow. Tomorrow he'll write that book. Tomorrow she'll have kids. My New Year's resolution will be blah, blah, blah. Notice how we pursue this conveniently up ahead, never satiated. No, happiness isn't a future goal, gentlemen. Happiness is the residue that comes after your righteous and rational virtues. Now, I'll repeat that. Happiness is the residue of virtue. It's the result of things. It's rarely a fluke or a gift. Consciously, your happiness is usually the consequence of you living righteously. hence going your own way. Once you understand this, happiness is then not an elusive lottery ticket that you're crossing your fingers for to win tomorrow. Jesus, what a wasteful and torturous mindset. It's an awful existence. Happiness is the result of a good direction you set for yourself. Happiness is the result of sound ethics, of lived ethics. You practice your virtue today, gentlemen. You don't pursue tomorrow mentally. This is largely a waste of energy. It's always today. It's only ever today. It's never the pursuit of tomorrow's unicorn that satisfies. The marketing our system sells you of pursuing tomorrow is a shell game, a psychological scam, an illusion that's always out of reach, a flimsy faith that keeps you tolerating whatever it is you're tolerating in your life now. Tomorrow I'll be happy. Yeah, right. I know one thing that will be certain tomorrow. You'll be 40, then you'll be 60, then if you're lucky 80, and then nothing. The question I'd ask is, what ethics do you practice now to achieve the very likely residue of happiness that'll follow? The pursuit of an illusory tomorrow that we never catch, and that's always easier, isn't it? Since you're never responsible for tomorrow in any real tactile sense, so it's much easier to find tomorrow preferable over today and now, and say, what's the point? It's what I'm chasing that matters. That's all that matters to me. We suffer from the dopamine addiction of anticipation, the lure of the warm sun rising tomorrow and warming us. No, pursuing happiness is chasing something that's never there. A perpetual disappointment of something forever out of reach. For example, most men chase future happiness with the same headspace they chase women. The sex they'll get tomorrow, the life they'll lead tomorrow. You know, Jungian psychotherapist James Hollis suggested letting your actions be guided not by what you think will make you happy, but rather by asking, does this path or this choice make me larger or smaller? It's a powerful question to ask oneself, for then it shifts our focus onto meaning rather than fleeting happiness. And unlike happiness, the answer becomes much, much clearer to us. The present is not a mere ingredient for tomorrow. You are throwing your time away, gentlemen. The more you chase tomorrow, the more it runs away. Researchers have demonstrated that people who value happiness the most are in fact less likely to experience it. This is an interesting thing to remember. It reminds me of the PUA that game women, when you have to pretend to be indifferent to what you want to eventually get what you really want. Isn't nature a cruel mistress? This false New Age idea that happiness should somehow be our ultimate goal in life, it also confuses our understanding. A far more beneficial and productive mindset instead of happiness would be meaning, or following your calling, what the Greeks termed eudaimonia, or human flourishing, instead of simply pursuing hedonism and pleasure. So instead, try this perspective on for size, gentlemen. Try looking at happiness as a rewarding result, not a target to aim for. Try seeing happiness as a consequence of your good choices. Try seeing happiness as the residue of your sound ethics and morals. And use your ethics, gentlemen. Don't just describe them. Don't live in your head. Go your own way and do your own thing. Later. Feel free to share my videos with others. Link to them, enjoy them. Also like, comment, subscribe and hit that bell icon under the video. And keep checking my channel for new stuff in case the notifications don't work. All my videos are free, but I really appreciate your donations through Patreon or PayPal. It keeps me creating more videos. Thanks, guys.